The thing with the Warriors is that Steve Kerr already came out and said Andrew Wiggins is not playing the rest of the regular season, right? So that's a big problem. He's missed what 30 something games, like back to back to back. So 30 something games. You're gonna right now the way the Lake outside of the loss they had last night. I think they play the Suns and the Jazz. Those are the last two games for the regular season for them. And the Warriors, if the Warriors get stuck in the play-in, I'm not gonna lie, that's kind of right now. I'll just say this: do. I think the Lakers are by far the biggest sleeping giant, and I do think the Warriors era is kind of over. I know people have said that before, and then it's come back to bite them when it comes to a playoff scenario. But right now, it's too much, bro. Yes, they have probably one of the I think the best um 5-man rotation in the or no the best 5-man lineup in the by net rating with Steph, Clay, Drew, Andrew Wiggins, Draymond, and Kevon Looney. I think by net rating, but outside of that, Jordan Poole recently he's been playing well coming off the bench, but he's one of those guys that's like in the Tyler Hero, Tyrese Maxey, Anthony Simons like type of role where you're gonna get a 5 to 6 game stretch in the regular season where they're just playing out of their freaking mind for some reason. But then you're gonna get that month or two stretch where they're pretty okay, giving you 18 to 20 a game. And this year he's been struggling mightily off the bench. And when you put him in a playoff setting, especially when you don't have home court advantage, and they've been struggling on the road this much this year, I don't think he's going to be able to play to the level he's been playing the past couple weeks. Their bench right now, outside of maybe DiVincenzo, is completely inexperienced and honestly sucks.
I don't agree with that at all. Gary Payton's come back. He's looked sharp offensively. He has a connection with the starters. Jonathan Kuminga defensively is another player who 10 to 15 minutes, he can play high level defense, and his athleticism does pop. And then you've got Jordan Poole, who's playing right now his best basketball. I know he's in that Tyler Hero camp, but last year he was a key piece in multiple. I mean, we're talking about this guy like a Hall of Famer against the Denver Nuggets because of how much of a force multiplier he was in the perimeter. So I look
Yeah,
at
but you
Dante
have to look at
Poole, Kuminga.
it depends on the series for him. Because you play the Nuggets defensive, they don't have anybody to stay in front of him in that second unit. So of course he's gonna go out. But the moment he plays the Grizzlies, he's a non-factor because the Grizzlies is a great defensive team. Then you play the Mavericks. The Mavericks were a pretty good defensive team, but overall they were kind of gassed. So he played pretty okay. And then you get to Boston, and he had an okay series. He will put up 17 a game on relatively average shooting splits. But that's okay for him. But you're not gonna get these like 25 per game performances when he's playing like really good defensive teams. And it gets to a point where their road record and when you're going in the playoffs without home court advantage like you've done the past 6 years, when you're going in there and your majority of your games is going to be on the road against an elite team, say what you want, if they're playing either the Kings, Grizzlies, or Nuggets, this ain't the same as a couple years, even a year ago. I'm sorry. This year, you're going to have to play against Jokic, who has offensive help. This is the one, I guess, elite team that I think the Nuggets can beat. Like, you're going into the playoffs, and you're going to get the playoffs on a completely different level than you were before. And right now, the only two guys that have been really consistent this season has been Steph and has been Clay. And if you're going to throw Wiggins in there just randomly, when he hasn't played 30 games, I think that's just a mix of disaster versus the Lakers on the other end, where you're playing the best basketball of your season. And right now, AD looks huh?
They did not look good against the Jazz. The Clippers they lost to last night. LeBron put one of his worst
That
halves.
collapse at the end of the game against the Jazz, I understand that, but before that, they were looking fine. Against the Clippers, that wasn't a back-to-back, and LeBron had one of the worst first half I've ever seen, but that second half was freaking
Yeah,
beautiful.
I mean, listen. Before that, first off, the game against the Jazz, yeah, they started to collapse at the end, but then you got to give them credit for being able to uh, regroup in the overtime
Yeah,
and
because
come
he's
back.
in
And
a
Jazz
win.
during
All right, but you
Montescano.
can't, John. You can't have it both ways. You can't say, "Oh, you're close game against the Jazz," and then say, "Oh, it's against the
That
Jazz."
team's
Like
not trying to
they're an
win.
NBA. Are they an NBA team? Are they
Yeah,
an
but
NBA team?
Barely right
but
now, hardly. They shut down Martin
John,
and
but how
Kessler,
many
the two best players.
John, be fair here. How many the past couple of days? How many times have you heard THT drop freaking 40? And on the other side of that, how many times have you seen like elite? I'm gonna say elite teams, good teams, get in a situation where something goes wrong at the end of the game and they can't reel it back in, and it just falls apart after that. And then what was a very winnable scenario for you, you just couldn't put a cap on it anymore because you gave the other team too much confidence. We've seen that happen time and time again. You have to give credit for realizing, hey, yo, we let go of the rope a little bit. Let's reel this shit back in and put this team away.
Kelly Olynyk went 4 for 4 from 3.
And a banker. Come on. Daniel Jones had to hit 3 threes in the second half to keep them in here. We have to realize the things that had to happen for this game to get close.
Come on.
The Jazz's starting lineup was Taylor Horton-Tucker, Ochai Agbaji, Udoka Azubuike, who I kind of forgot was in the league, Luka Samanic, and Kelly Olynyk.
John, you're literally giving us the reason of why the regular season does sometimes not mean much. These things happen. There's 82 games in the season. You're bound to have a bad quarter, half, stretch, game. The best thing is they won. They didn't lose. And then you saw last night, they came back, played a back-to-back. That was first time AD played a back-to-back since November, I believe. LeBron played the back-to-back. Now, right to start off the gate, they had no effort and energy, really. For me, I tweeted out right when the game started, I personally would not have played LeBron and AD in that game. I would have played D'Lo because he didn't play the overtime, and he's missed a couple of games, and I want him to get a little bit more back in the game shape. But LeBron and AD, I would have sat them for that game and said, all right.
Both played great.
Yeah, and then I would have sat them, and I would have said, all right, we're looking straight at the Phoenix and the Jazz to end the season. You play those last 2 games, we're going to the playoffs or playing, whatever it is. That's what I would have done. They ended up playing. I think LeBron played 38 minutes. Probably not the best for his foot. And listen, they came up short against the Clippers, who are a good team. They're going to be a playoff team. They're top 4 or 5 seed right now, so they're a good team. For me personally, this is what I'll say. Right? Who's the bigger sleeping giant? I think everybody's familiar with the show and watched last episode knows where I am. They're my 5th team in my playoff contenders. It's the Los Angeles Lakers. I said when you got AD and you got LeBron, they're the best duo in the NBA when healthy. Facing any team in the NBA, they're the best duo. With the Warriors, I think if they go up against the Grizzlies, that's going to be a much tougher matchup for them. They're hoping and banking on getting the Kings. 1, because of the inexperience. 2, because defensively they know that they can take advantage of them. So it's going to be an offensive shootout.
That they get the Kings.
It's going to be an offensive shootout. So and then for me, the Lakers, I look at and say, I don't care if it's the Grizzlies. I don't care if it's the Kings. I'm confident the Lakers can beat either of those teams. I'm confident they can beat. Well, they're not going to match up with the Suns. I don't think that's going to happen.
I don't think they can get the 5th seed anymore. But I'm just.
I don't think you want to. Why would you want to face Phoenix in round 1 when you can face the Kings or the Grizzlies?
When you look at it, the matchup problems is so hilarious for every single team that they play that they create. It's literally so funny. Like when you look at if they still had Cam Johnson and Mikal Bridges, maybe it'd be a little bit different because at least you still have a little bit more versatility in that end. Mm-hmm. But now with KD, when you put the Lakers up against any single team, it is hilarious. Whenever they play Denver, Jokic always seem to have trouble again. I don't know why, but LeBron seems to always want to be able to guard Jokic in the post for some reason, and he's always done a pretty good job at it. I don't know how.
Doesn't have to deal with athleticism. He just.
I get that, but that's the sheer size alone. And Jokic has some of the extreme touch, and it just seems out of it whenever like LeBron is back there for some reason.
LeBron's not that much smaller than Jokic.
And right now, the Lakers are playing their best defensive basketball, and the Nuggets, outside of KCP, have their point of attack defenders aren't that great. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not that high on Aaron Gordon as a point of attack defender anymore. After watching some of these scenarios, Bruce Brown has been great offensive this year. Point of attack defender, So right now you have no real rim protection at all. You have AD playing the best basketball of his career, and you have a bunch of shooters around LeBron. That's a perfect scenario to knock any team out of any contention. You go against Phoenix, those matchup problems on the defensive end for them sucks. Right now with how soft Ayton is, I'm not gonna lie, you put LeBron on Ayton. You have AD on KD or Jared Vanderbilt on KD, and you have AD as a roamer playing off somebody like Josh Okogie, who after those couple games where you average 20 has looked completely trash. Like it gets bad, bro. It gets
So,
bad when you look
Yeah.
at these like it genuinely looks like it's a situation where they could come in as a 7th seed and pull some type of like Houston Rockets, Akeem Elijah on Houston Rockets shit.
and go to
It's the
the
difference
finals.
between
Yeah,
them
I
and the
think the
Warriors. Where the
path is
Warriors,
there.
So
I
the
don't see a
Lakers,
path. I don't see a path where the Warriors can like do anything in the playoffs really well. Or if they make it past the first round, I don't see them getting past the second round. Versus the Lakers, this is a genuine conversation of, hey, yo, who can beat them outside of who's coming out of the East?
So the Lakers have won 7 of the last 10. The Lakers' new 5-man lineup of D'Lo, Reeves, Vando, V8, so I like to call him LeBron AD, is a plus 27 point differential, which is literally better than the Golden State starting 5, which was the best in the NBA this year. Now, it's a sample of only 100 possessions, and that's kind of the issue here with the Lakers. Both Golden State and Los Angeles have struggled with consistency this year, but we see at the high-end outcome, they can go all the way to the NBA Finals. The issue is coaching. Steve Kerr has won 4 NBA championships. He has a more experienced coaching staff than Darvin Ham. Darvin Ham is a rookie head coach with no playoff experience as the main man. He had some time in in Milwaukee, but that's a different animal. He doesn't have Mike Budenholzer. This Lakers team has not been well coached this year. It's not to throw shade at Darvin Ham, but he is inexperienced. And when I look at a team that's lacked consistency, especially with Anthony Davis, because of his lack of durability, his on and off motor, I have a lot more faith in Golden State because I've seen more consistent results. I know this year on the road, they haven't been good. They've also been missing their second most important offensive player, or at least their third most overall in Andrew Wiggins for half of the year. You put Wiggins and Gary Payton back into the mix. And I think the Warriors this year are the biggest sleeping giant in the entire NBA, not just the Western Conference, because they have Steve Kerr, they have Steph Curry, who's probably the most unguardable offensive player. And in many matchups, there's not going to be a defense that can stop them because of the shooting around him. And I feel like the bench the Warriors have is much better than people give credit for. Much better. Dante DiVincenzo has been awesome this year. I know he may not have the statistics that IQ and Prague can have, but he is a 6-man of the year candidate. Jordan Poole, he is a little bit more matchup dependent, but I think in many series where he's not playing well, Gary Payton will. And the same goes for JK. Golden State's 7 or 8 guys deep in any matchup. And I even think Anthony Lamb could give them some minutes in the back end. It's not a terrible bench. And their starting lineup is a plus 22 this season, the best in the NBA. Defensively, Draymond Green has been one of the top 5 players on that end of the floor. The missing piece has been Andrew Wiggins. And that's why I think the most important thing that's going to decide this is which team escapes the play-in tournament. The Lakers can't go into the play-in. They're not going to be able to stay healthy. They need that rest. Because the theory of Los Angeles to you two and many people is that they go on a finals run. And I think with Austin Reeves' playmaking and D'Lo's integration, they could make a finals run. But their two most important players need to stay healthy. And if they don't get rest, they're not going to, most likely.
I don't think they need that playing rest though. After LeBron
What happened in
was down for so
2021?
long, huh?
What happened in 2021?
But those are already end of the year injuries that were lingering before the playoffs even started. The thing is like now they're healthy going in. Before they were broken, they were already injured going into the playoffs back in 2021. Now they're healthy going in.
LeBron's just come back off a foot injury. He looked probably as bad as I've ever seen him last night in the first half. Second
And
half,
then what happened in the second half though?
But that's what I'm talking about
But
here.
it's on
Him
a
and
back
AD.
to back.
Yeah, but hold on, wait, John. Would you rather have a great first half or a great second half?
I'll take the game. Half. I don't care.
I'll take the second half.
Sure.
I'll take the second half.
What I'm getting at here is not that.
It's
the fact that AD and LeBron are not that reliable.
I'll give you
Anthony Davis is not a top 10 player, and LeBron is not what he was in 2016. And I think most people look at it that way when LeBron is gently declining.
That's fair.
But I'm not looking at I'm looking at what I've seen this season. Yeah. And AD, since coming back from his injury, not only has been healthy, not only he got that ankle injury, the thing about it, what I love is that back in 2020, LeBron had a specific quote when they won that finals, and he said the difference with AD is that now whenever he did get hurt or any knick-knack bruises, he didn't stay back in the locker room. He went back there, got whatever he needed to do done, and came right the hell back out. And that's what I see right now. He got that ankle injury. I thought the season was done. I'm like, oh, well, that's it. They're screwed. Tied that shoe, got right back in, played, and then played the next damn game. And then played a back-to-back. The thing about it is that right now, this season, is that they've got enough rest. LeBron had About a month off. AD had about a month off in this season already. Right now, I think you go in these playoff scenarios where you don't have any back-to-backs. You're gonna have time to rest. You're gonna have sometimes multiple days off. Before that, the play-in, they probably win that first game, and then they're gonna have rest because they're gonna have another 2 or 3 days before their playoff series starts because the next play-in game is gonna have to play, and then so it doesn't. They're gonna get the rest either way, unless they lose that first play-in game, which is who they play, Minnesota. Who would they play?
And they would have to. Right now, it'd be OKC, but it could be Dallas, which I think they would hope for. But here, that's what's going to be my whole point is that, John, right now they're sitting at the 7th seed. So that means they'd only have to play one playing game.
And no team yet as a 7 seed has lost the play-in, to note.